Good morning. It's Monday. I hope everybody has their coffee.
Got it.
Welcome to another episode of That's What She Said. We're so happy you're with us today. We have a really cool episode talking about something that's important to the She Said family. Today's episode is brought to you by Christie Foundation. Thank you very much. And there's a very special reason for that, which we'll introduce in just a moment. I'm Jenette Zubricky, here to spend the morning with you, and with me is...
I'm Karyl Wackerlin.
Crystal Odoms.
And our guest today is Rachel Zubricky, head of the physical therapy department at Christie Clinic. Today we're talking about a very specific part of That's What She Said. She Said started 4 years ago as a live stage show. And the founders of She Said realized that there's a lot of power when it comes to women getting together to make things happen in this community and around the world. And Karyl, you were part of that very first show. And it inspired some great ideas. Tell us about She Said Soul Journey.
Well, Soul Journey really was birthed out of this idea of telling stories. I've been on lots of mission trips throughout the world, as a lot of you know. And one of the things I found is in talking to women in other countries, everybody has a story. And I found that we're more alike than we're different. And so I came up with this idea of taking women from here to a different country where we could really find out on our own whether or not women really are more alike. And so we put together something called Soul Journey. We are getting ready to take our fourth Soul Journey now. We always go to the same place, which we didn't intend to do in the first place. We go to a place called God's Littlest Angels Orphanage in Patienville, north of Patienville, Haiti. We really intended to go to 7 different countries in 7 different years. And when we met the people in Haiti, we really felt strongly that the most important thing for us to do is build a relationship with the women there. And so that's what we do. And the thing that's important not only is what we do when we're in Haiti, but what we do as teams before we go. Part of the important thing about Soul Journey is empowering women here and there. And so I'm really, really excited that Rachel was selected last year to receive the Christie Foundation Scholarship. And so she was invited to go with us on the team that went in September 2015. And Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the Soul Journey experience has affected you both professionally and personally?
Well, I think the biggest thing was when we got the application and the email that the Christie Foundation wanted to sponsor a medical scholarship. I disregarded it. So that tells you a little bit kind of about my personality to start with. I'm not going to a third world country. I've been to Canada, but I've never been outside the country. On an orphanage, to an orphanage with a bunch of women I didn't know. So that was, like I said, kind of told you a little bit how I was used to comfort, doing my own thing, and I got some push, a nice little nudge from Marcia Osterer over at Christie Clinic, who helps out a lot with the foundation, and then it led me to meeting Karyl and the other ladies that went with us, and the whole experience, I think getting to meet some women in the community was big for me. I'm not from this area originally. So I think getting to meet these women that had their own stories. Some of them were stay-at-home moms with several kids at home. Some were running the crisis nursery. There's just some were photographers. So getting to meet some people and understanding that I can share my story. I can get out there and talk to other people about what's going on in my life. So from a personal standpoint, it's really helped me expand my comfort, my confidence level with interacting with people. Recently, I did take over as the manager of our department. I don't think I would have ever even thought about doing that before taking that trip. No.
That's amazing.
So
that's really amazing.
I think just giving me a bit of a confidence booster to see other women that are doing this. Why not? Why couldn't I do it? So,
and Rachel, what is your story? Where are you from, and how did you end up in Champaign, and why do you do what you do?
I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I moved here in 2010. Started working at Christie. That whole I followed a boy here, and then, but I loved working for I love working for Christie Clinic. I fell in love with the community, even though it was a little bit small and rural for me at first, but I absolutely loved it here, and so I've been here now since then. Currently, I don't have much of a life outside of work, working on that, but taking over some new job duties has kind of limited my social life.
But you will forever have this group of women that you bonded with on your Haiti mission
So
trip.
let's talk a little bit more about the Haiti. I know Crystal.
Yes.
Crystal's been to Haiti.
I was on the second team, January 2015.
Okay, and Jenette?
I have not been yet, but I have committed to going to this year's mission trip, which is in August of 2016.
So we know that everybody that goes on these trips ends up there for a reason. So Rachel, tell me a little bit about what you did when you were there and why do you think you ended up there?
My role going into the trip was different than I think anybody that's gone before. I was specifically going for a medical purpose, physical therapy, to provide those services to the kids at GLA. It was a unique opportunity. There are lots of kids at that orphanage that need help, that they don't have those services available to them. So my role was from a medical standpoint. Things you saw that you'll see in Haiti and that we've seen there, it's not what you'll see here. We don't have the resources to work with the kids like we do in Champaign at Christie. If I needed something, we didn't have it. So you have to either bring it with you, or you have to get creative and figure out a way to make it work. Some of the sad stuff is seeing kids that have conditions medically, physically, that we don't really necessarily even deal with here in the States. They're things that you read about in school, but you don't ever expect to see them. And that was kind of sad. But to see how happy those kids are, how well cared for they are, they absolutely just flourish out there. And it's if you would agree with that.
So did that experience change your idea of poverty and what what it truly means to be impoverished?
It did. I think I wasn't expecting the orphanage to be so joyful. Those kids, they were just, some of them couldn't. Bobo, I think, is the big example. Everybody, I think, who's been to Haiti knows Bobo. A kid that has everything going against him, but smiles, laughs. He lights up, dances, and he lights up a room when he walks into a room. Everybody knows Bobo. Everyone gets excited and they see him. So to think how that kid, how a child like that can do as well as he's doing in conditions like Haiti, I thought it was pretty amazing.
Crystal, I saw you have an aha moment. And every night we would say, well, what was the high of the day and what was the low of the day? And I remember the very first night on our trip, I went around the circle and I asked everybody about highs and lows. And I looked at Crystal and she said, well, I didn't really have any highs. And I wanted to say, what? Why would you not have any highs?
Because the kids were happy. They were well taken care of, super smart, for the most part, active and healthy
But tell them what happened the next day.
So the next day we went to Nicole's house. Nicole, she works at GLA.
She's a nanny.
She's a nanny. And we walked to her home, and I was just incredibly humbled by how proud she was of her home. And it wasn't a home based on American standards. It was built out of cinder blocks. It was 2 rooms, but I could see how much love she put into those 2 rooms. A curtain was hung over the one window. She had a table with a vase with a flower in it, and it truly was her home. And it made me think about what it means to feel blessed and be blessed, and to what's really important in life, because she was proud to show us her home. Like, she was beaming. I was having my moment, but she was also very proud to show us her, where she lived and where her family lived, and not at all knowing, I don't think, that it wasn't necessarily what we're used to seeing. You know, she was showing us her life, and I thought that was incredibly vulnerable of her. And so I was just grateful and humbled by that experience, and it really made me think, like I said, reassess my own life and kind of think about what it means to me to be blessed and have an abundance of joy and love.
Well, I could tell because I was taking picture of the group, and you had said, "Can I have a picture taken with Nicole?"
Yeah.
And so I was looking through the viewfinder in my camera, and it was like a moment for me because you were beaming, and I hadn't seen that smile on you the whole trip yet. And so when I looked through the camera, I said, "You just found your high, didn't you?"
I did.
Yeah. So that was kind of a highlight for me. So Rachel, tell me a little bit more about what was your aha moment in Haiti?
I think at first I was so anxious that I wasn't going to be able to provide the physical therapy service I think that they expected. I was nervous that I wasn't living up to maybe what they were hoping to get, because I didn't have all those resources and I didn't know what I was getting into. Some of the kids didn't speak English. There's things like, again, you don't see in the United States. So I was fairly anxious for the first couple days, and then we went up the mountain to what they call the toddler house with the older kids, and I was working with a couple of the 3-4-year-olds and with Molly, who helps run the school, or who helped run the school up there. And that's when, kind of having a conversation with her and working with some of those kids, realized that no matter what I give them, even one small idea or exercise or tip was it would have a huge impact on that child. It was things that they didn't know, and even if it was, not what maybe patients would expect here, I could still provide some kind of support and a way to help those kids and help those teachers and the nannies. So I really felt like I had kind of met my purpose, and I had fulfilled my role at that point.
I remember before we left, you were spending a lot of time doing making out things in Creole, writing things out in Creole to leave there, and that you were almost it was almost like a class for you. You took it really seriously, and you had all these things laid out. And I remember saying to the whole group, you may think you know why you're going to Haiti. You may think you're going to help Bobo learn how to move or to use your skills, but it may be that there's a bigger purpose for why you're going. So tell me a little bit about how you can take what you learned in Haiti and how it makes you a better provider for Christie Clinic.
That's a loaded question, Karyl. Thanks.
No pressure. No pressure. We're good. We got time.
Lightweight question.
Well, the great thing about being able to practice medicine, practice physical therapy, not here, was that there weren't all those expectations. Once you got down to it, I didn't have to worry about insurance. I didn't have to worry about what, if I was getting, through some of those red tape barriers that we kind of talk about, and to actually just take the time and spend some time with a kid and help them out the best I thought that I could, to kind of step back and not be so concerned about, okay, I have 30 minutes right now, I have to get this done. If I don't get it done, what am I going to do? And that's, I think, in Haiti in general, it's just a nice kind of slower pace. So coming back here and seeing, especially a lot of little kiddos that I see at Christie, being able to step back and realize that I might not have every answer for that kid, or I might not have this piece of equipment that they need, but I can still give them something that, and work with them. And so I think from just being able to kind of relax and get back to
what you do,
what I do, the root of physical therapy, that I think being in Haiti allowed me to do that again.
Terrific.
So,
Rachel, we are so glad you were here. We're so glad you were part of the team.
Well,
and now you're kind of part of us,
Yes.
which is fun.
She said family forever.
It's
Yeah.
a journey, family.
And for anyone who'd like to learn more information, you can go to GLA's website, which is www.glahaiti.org. Or if you want to contact Karyl and find out more about the She Said Soul Journey, you can go to shesaidproject.com and find Karyl there. That's all the time we have for today. We hope you'll join us again next week. And until then, ladies, that's what she said.
No, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
We would really like to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Christie Foundation, and for supporting Rachel on her Haiti adventure. We'd also like to thank Bank Champagne for the She Said studio space, Texture Home for making it beautiful, and Columbia Street Roastery for keeping us caffeinated. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.
yes.
Like we all had gone up to the mountain because Tim Parker wanted us to see what it looked like up at the top. But unfortunately, it was real foggy that day. So we're all piled in the back of this open air truck. And
I was up top a little bit higher, so I could actually see back down on everybody, as well as down the mountain.
And so we were all crowded in this truck, and it started to back up, and it got closer and closer and
no.
closer. So we had a couple women who know something about the Catholic prayer of what
It was a Hail Mary.
Saint Joseph.
I thought it was a
yeah,
Hail
so
Mary.
they're doing a Hail Mary. Honestly, we thought we were going over the back.
I just think Megan
yeah.
just like jumped on top of everybody and started Hail Mary, and I was like, "What are they freaking out
But we
about?
made
We're
it.
not even that far away."